The story kicks off in a Japanese high school where Takahata, a genius student dying of boredom, is about to get the wake-up call of a lifetime. Right in the middle of a lecture, his teacher's head suddenly detonates, and a bizarre, talking Daruma doll pops out. This isn't a toy, it's a death machine. The doll forces the class into a lethal game of red light, green light. If the Daruma turns around and catches you flinching, your head pops. While its back is turned, you move. The second it spins around, it's game over for anyone caught in motion. Panic breaks out instantly, and students trying to bolt for the exit are slaughtered. Every kill releases strange red marbles that slick the floor, making movement a nightmare. Two kids try to force the door, but it's bolted shut. They're executed the moment the doll turns back. Amidst the carnage, a student named Satake realizes what's happening. He recognizes the game and spots a shut-off button on the doll's back. One kid tries to rush it, but the Daruma is too fast and kills him instantly. The doll might talk slowly, but its reflexes are superhuman. With only 60 seconds left on a countdown timer, the classroom is a literal graveyard. Only Takahata and Satake are left standing with 10 seconds on the clock. They execute a desperate leapfrog maneuver. Satake acts as a platform, and Takahata launches off his back to slam the button just before the timer hits 0. The Daruma slumps over in defeat, and for a second, the duo thinks they've won. Then, Satake's head explodes. The doll cold-bloodedly clarifies the rules. Only the person who physically pressed the button survives. As Takahata reels from the shock, the doll drops a cryptic warning about a cat coming next. The door swings open and Takahata's friend, Ichika, stumbles in. She's traumatized, explaining that she just survived the same game in her own class. And she was the only survivor there, too. They try to call for help, but the phones are dead. Every window and door is reinforced and unbreakable. Following the only open path, they end up in the school gym. The doors lock behind them, and they find a crowd of other survivors, some of whom are dressed in mouse costumes. A message on the floor gives the next objective: get the ball in the hoop to win. Suddenly, the floor quakes, and a massive, monstrous cat statue rises from the ground. It immediately pounces, devouring a student in a mouse suit. It begins a predatory hunt, picking off anyone dressed like a rodent. A weird purring sound coming from the suit. He freezes. He realizes the giant monster isn't just hungry, it's itchy. He leaps onto the cat's back, grabs a rope, and starts scrubbing. The creature starts grinning and calms down instantly. It just wanted a back scratch. Takahata calls for backup, and eventually, the whole group climbs up to help. The monster gets so relaxed it actually falls into a deep sleep. This is their opening. Takahata grabs the ball, but the remaining students turn on him. They're convinced only the person who sinks the shot survives, and a fight breaks out over who gets the glory. The noise wakes the cat, which instantly claws 2 students to death. With time running out, Takahata fakes a plan. He hands a decoy ball to Ichika and hides the real one inside a torn basketball. They both emerge wearing mouse suits, approaching from different angles to scramble the cat's brain. The cat gets confused, but eventually spots the trick, thinking Ichika has the real prize. It blocks her shot, but that was the bait. Takahata launches his ball, revealing the real one hidden inside. He misses the rim, and for a second, it looks like game over, until a student named Amaya drops out of nowhere, grabs the air ball, and dunks it at the buzzer. The cat shuts down, announcing the game is over. It then names the only victors: Takahata, Ichika, and Amaya. No one else. When Takahata asks about the others, Amaya goes on a killing spree, executing the losers. He's a total psychopath who believes only the strong should inhabit this new world. He tries to off Ichika for talking back, but Takahata steps in to shield her. Before the fight can escalate, the cat emits a thick white fog, and the 3 of them vanish. Meanwhile, the outside world is in total meltdown. News reports confirm these death games are hitting schools globally, and the body count has already crossed 10 million. News outlets are going into a frenzy over the mass disappearances, with some anchors even blaming an alien invasion. As they speculate, massive cubes begin hovering over cities across the globe. Inside the Japanese vessel, Takahata wakes up and finds himself trapped with Takusa, an old flame from a different school. They aren't alone. 2 other survivors named Tara and Taka are also in the room, having cleared the Daruma and cat trials at their own campuses. Takahata quickly spots a pattern. Every person in this room has a name starting with T. Realizing students are grouped by their initials, he panics, knowing that Ichika and the psycho Amaya share the same first letter and are likely trapped together. He beats on the reinforced door, but the arrogant genius Tara tells him to give it up. Tara pulls up a holographic news feed to show him the reality. They're floating high in the sky, and no rescue is coming. They're stuck until the next round kicks off. On cue, a knock echoes. 4 creepy dolls float into the room, declaring the 3rd trial is starting, and it's a total nightmare compared to the first 2. The dolls pick Tara to lead off. Overconfident, he accepts. The rules are simple. Tara sits blindfolded while the dolls circle him, singing a nursery rhyme. When the music stops, he has to name the specific doll standing directly behind him. The song ends, and a sweating Tara takes a guess. He's wrong. A laser hits him, seizing control of his motor functions. His own body betrays him as he's forced to smash his skull into the floor repeatedly until he's dead. Next up is Taka. She's paralyzed with terror and refuses to play, but the dolls make it clear, play or die right now. She sits, the dolls sing, and the song ends. When they ask who's behind her, she freezes. Her hesitation counts as a loss. She tries to bolt, but the dolls pin her with a laser. They force her legs apart and pull with such raw power that her body is literally ripped in half. As the dolls turn their sights on Takusa, Takahata cuts them off and demands to take her place. He sits, the dolls chant, and the silence falls. When asked who's behind him, Takahata nails the answer perfectly. The dolls are stunned, demanding to know how he did it. He coolly explains that he mapped out their individual movement patterns while watching them murder his classmates. Defeated, the dolls vanish, leaving behind a single key. Takahata and Takusa grab the prize and exit into the hallway. They see another student sprinting for his life, clutching a key while a doll hunts him. The boy screams for them to grab onto each other. The doll only executes people standing alone. By linking hands, they become invisible to the killer, who moves on to find a solo target. Now the group has 2 keys. A commotion nearby leads them to Ichika, who is currently being pursued by a doll. Takahata lunges, grabbing her hand just before the killing blow lands. Suddenly, a massive wooden head manifests on the wall, featuring 7 keyholes and a ticking clock. The head booms that 7 survivors must turn 7 keys simultaneously to pass. Takahata's group links up with 2 other key holders, bringing their count to 6 people and 4 keys. There are still 3 keys and 1 person short, and they only have 120 seconds left on the clock. Just as the group hits a wall of despair, Amaya strolls in and drops the final 3 keys at their feet. He's got another student in tow, but since they only need 7 people and now have 8, Amaya executes the extra guy without blinking. He casually explains he only kept the kid around to avoid being killed for standing alone. Though sickened by the murder, Takahata has to swallow his rage. They need Amaya to survive the round. They slot the 7 keys into the wooden head, triggering a victory announcement. The head orders them into new outfits before a tunnel opens up, leading them deeper into the madness. They emerge into a strange arena where the ground suddenly trembles. A massive white polar bear rises from the earth, performs a short, eerie routine, and then speaks, "I hate lies." The rules are simple but lethal. The bear asks a question, and everyone must be 100% honest. If someone fakes it, the group has to out the liar or offer up a human sacrifice to move on. The first question is basic. What's your favorite meal? Everyone answers, but the bear sniffs the air and growls. Someone is lying. They have 2 minutes to pick a victim. Chaos erupts as they turn on each other. They eventually dogpile on a student who claimed to love vegetables. arguing that no one likes greens that much. Despite his desperate pleas of innocence, the bear crushes him into the dirt. Next question. Do you like Takahata? Ichika and Takusa immediately say yes. Amaya and the others follow suit. The bear sniffs again, another lie. Ichika points a finger at Amaya, claiming he's incapable of liking anyone. As they bicker, Takahata starts thinking, why would anyone risk lying to a lie-detecting monster? The bear grins, telling Takahata he's getting warm. It claims an alien in human form is hiding among them and has been lying from the start. The group instantly looks for an easy target. One student points at Takusa, noting that everyone else has a partner from their original school except her. She's the outsider. Despite Takahata and Ichika's protests, the clock runs out. The majority, led by Amaya and the two other students, votes to kill her. Takahata watches in agony as his ex-girlfriend is pulverized into a bloody mess. The bear starts to ask a third question, but Takahata cuts him off. I know who the liar is, he snaps. The bear looks intrigued. Takahata points right at the monster. It's you. He explains that when Takusa died, her blood splashed onto the bear, washing away the white paint to reveal black fur underneath. There was never an alien or a liar among the students. The bear fabricated the whole thing to make them butcher each other for sport. Exposed, the bear loses its mind and tries to stomp them. The survivors bolt, leading the raging beast into a pool of boiling liquid. The heat melts the rest of the white facade, revealing the bear's true form. Defeated, it concedes the win. The group moves to the final trial. A pack of tiny dolls surrounds them, laying out the endgame, a lethal version of hide-and-seek. One person is designated the Oni. They must place a box inside a red circle while the others hide. If the Oni finds a student and calls their name, that person goes to prison. The Oni wins by bagging at least 3 people. However, if any hiding student kicks the box out of the circle, the Oni loses instantly. The catch: the box is a bomb. Whoever kicks it dies in the explosion to save the rest. They have 1 hour until sunset to settle the score. To decide who plays the Oni, the dolls break out a set of wooden sticks. In a stroke of pure bad luck, the role goes to Amaya, the most unhinged, sadistic student in the group. The game is on. As the survivors scatter into the shadows, Amaya calmly sets the box in the circle and begins his hunt. He tracks down the 2 students from the rival school first. They try to fight back, but Amaya overpowers them like it's nothing, hauling them off to the cage. Takahata and Ichika watch the capture from a distance, but Amaya's predatory instincts kick in and he spots them. They try to rappel down a rope to safety, but Amaya is closing the gap too fast, realizing they won't both make it. Ichika makes the ultimate sacrifice. She intentionally blows her cover to lure Amaya away, giving Takahata the window he needs to vanish. Amaya bags her and locks her up, leaving Takahata as the final target. Knowing Takahata is the only one left, Amaya decides to just camp out by the box. He tries to get into Takahata's head, shouting that he's already caught enough people for them both to win. It's a transparent lie, and Takahata doesn't bite. Scouting the area, Takahata finds an old suit of plate armor. He figures he can wear it to tank the explosion when he kicks the box. The plan has one massive flaw. The suit is heavy, clunky, and makes him look like a total amateur. He even fumbles his sword while trying to move. Amaya corners him at the edge of the castle. Seeing Takahata defenseless, Amaya mocks him and pulls off his helmet to deliver a final blow. But he's walked right into a trap. The moment Amaya's guard is down, Takahata entangles him in heavy iron chains he'd been hiding. Takahata finally finds his voice, admitting that while he used to find life a bore, these games finally taught him the value of existence, at the cost of everyone he cared about. He hurls himself off the ledge, using his momentum to drag Amaya down with him. The weight of the armor and the chains pulls them both toward the abyss. At the last second, Takahata slips out of the heavy suit and scrambles back up, leaving Amaya struggling to break free below. Exhausted, Takahata crawls toward the box. Amaya finally busts loose and sprints toward him, but he's too late. Takahata's foot connects, sending the box flying out of the circle. Everyone braces for a world-ending explosion. Silence. There was no bomb. As the sun dips below the horizon, the dolls reappear, giggling. They admit the bomb was just a lie to spice things up. The final round was just a game. Fireworks burst overhead, and the survivors breathe a massive sigh of relief. The dolls even hand out ice cream bars to celebrate the victory. Takahata sits with Ichika, finally dreaming about a life outside this nightmare. He notices some writing on his ice cream stick, but ignores it to keep talking. Then, he hears Ichika sobbing. He looks at her stick, and his heart stops. The wood reads, "You lose." "UD." The dolls' voices turn icy. They explain that while the previous games tested brains and brawn, the real world is governed by nothing but raw luck. The ice cream sticks were the final judge. Takahata looks at his own. He's safe. Amaya is safe. But Ichika and the other two students are marked for execution. Before Takahata can even scream her name, a laser blast vaporizes Ichika and the others instantly. Takahata and Amaya are warped back to the surface of the Japanese cube. They are greeted by a roar of applause from a global audience cheering for the winners. But as the cameras flash, Takahata is a hollow shell, standing in the spotlight of a victory that cost him the only person he ever loved.